Jacksonville quarterback Trevor Lawrence, New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson, and San Francisco's Trey Lance. A trio of sophomore quarterbacks are going to get to see some live action on Friday night. All three are hoping for better seasons than the ones they endured last year. And in terms of ceilings, so Lawrence is likely the highest. Jags aren't expected to contend, but they are expected to be significantly better. And for Wilson and the Jets, it could be a make or break year too, as Wilson faded down the stretch last season. 7 interceptions in his last 3 games. And for Lance, his first year as a starter as he takes over for Jimmy G in San Francisco. The trio featuring in a quintet of games on the docket. Jaguars game features Lawrence and running back Travis Etienne, but they will be overshadowed by the Browns starting Deshaun Watson. At least that's what's happening as of this point in time. Jets in Philadelphia to face Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and in a rematch of last year's divisional round playoff game, Lance and the Niners welcome the Green Bay Packers. All right, so those are the nuts and bolts. Let's get to how we can make some money on these games. And to do that, we welcome in our 2-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden, and Mr. Football Game Plan, Sportsline's Emory Hunt. All right, let's start at the top. Atlanta at Detroit. It is the Lions favored by 2.5. The total nice here, 35 and a hook. Marcus Mariota versus Matthew Stafford, B-Mac.
I'm taking the Falcons right now with this particular bet, getting 2.5. And the reason why I'm taking the Falcons, Emory, is because this is a legit ball game for Marcus Mariota. Remember when they drafted Desmond Ridder in the 3rd round of this year's past draft, right? A lot of people were saying, well, potentially he could be the face of the franchise. Could this be a quarterback competition? And so far, Marcus has done everything you would want an experienced quarterback to do in camp throughout practices. But now, this is a preseason game. So I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons, assuming and believing that Marcus is going to attack this game like this is a regular season game because he has no room for error. And then the same can be said for Desmond Ridder. Yes, he's a rookie, but when he jumps into the lineup, he's trying to show the football world, the franchise, the fans of the Falcons, you know what? I should be in this conversation. Let's make this thing dicey. Let's make it interesting. And then when you bring in Felipe Franks, remember when Franks was in the lineup a year ago with his athleticism, man, he made some things happen. They're already thinking about using him at the tight end position. He got some tight end reps. But one thing about Felipe Franks, when he gets into the lineup, now anything goes. He's a guy that can improvise. He's a guy that can extend plays. He's a guy that can utilize his athleticism to make things happen. So when you factor in all of the quarterback names that I mentioned and how important this game is, I go with the side that has more at stake, especially at the most important position. So give me the Falcons.
I totally agree with you, B-Mac, because the Falcons point blank have the better quarterback room. 1, 2, and 3, they have the best depth there, and I think that's going to carry them throughout the game. And when you look at their draft and what they've done at free agency, they've improved on defense. So if you go further in the game and a lot of these talented rookies start to play, they tend to be better than what Detroit has from a depth perspective. Detroit is solid in the from starters perspective, but from the backups, they still have a little bit more work to do, and their backup quarterback situation is just not the best or better than Atlanta. And 2 guys to keep an eye on that I'm excited to see: wide receiver Tyshawn James from Central Connecticut State, could play inside or outside, and definitely linebacker Troy Anderson out of Montana State, who can play all 3 linebacker positions. And if you want him to play on offense, he could tote that rock too, because he did that with the Bobcats.
And we did not go back in time, and I was not trying to troll the Lions fans. Jared Goff, of course, the starting quarterback with the Lions, not Matthew Stafford. All right, let's talk about Cleveland.
You trolled him. You did a good job, though. You did a good job.
Yeah,
You did a good job.
Thank you for letting me eat that one and not correcting me. I appreciate that, gentlemen. All right, let's talk about Cleveland and Jacksonville. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, looking forward to that. But the big story here is Deshaun Watson possibly starting this game. Emory, Cleveland currently the favorites. Or pardon me, that line has switched. They were the favorites. Now it's the Jags by a point with that total still sitting at 37 and a hook.
Listen, I'm a creature of habit. So what I saw last week is what I'm expecting to see this week, and it has nothing to do with Deshaun Watson and how long he's going to play. It's about whether or not the Jags can stop the run. The Raiders ran up and down the field against them in that Hall of Fame game, and the Browns have depth in the backfield. They have depth along the offensive line. I expect them to run the football really well, and I expect the Browns to win this game. And also, when you look at wide receiver Dalen Baldwin, they bring him in recently. He's another big, strong, fast guy that can get down the field. Excited to see him play. And on defense, DeAnthony Bell, the rookie undrafted free agent from West Florida, the Argonauts, another guy that's a strong safety but probably can play linebacker. So when you factor in versatile depth that they have on the back third of their roster, I think that is what's going to carry teams over the hump in this preseason. So I do like the Browns here more so than the Jags.
Yeah, I like the Browns as well. I mean, basically it's a pick 'em. I know the Jags are favored by 1, but you can go either direction. But I like the Browns for all the points that Emory just gave you guys, along with Deshaun Watson. Now, will he play a series? Will he play two? We don't know. But one thing I can expect from Deshaun Watson, let's let it fly. Let's air it out. One good time, coach. Let's air it out. It's been a long time since this guy has played in a game where he's going to be hit, where he's going to try to hit pass catchers when people are watching. Let's air it out. And then when he goes out, you got Jacoby Brissett. You got Joshua Dobbs. You even got Josh Rosen on the depth chart as well. So they have some experienced players at the quarterback position, knowing they're going to see a lot of generic-like off defenses. I mean, this is the opportunity for these guys to gain experience and gain the trust of their teammates in the organization. And like you said, Jacksonville last week, my goodness, the Raiders, they're still running on the Jaguars. And I understand I don't expect to see Chubb or Kareem Hunt, but they have a lot of running back depth for the Cleveland Browns. And you better believe they're going to exploit some things that they saw last week on film in regards to the Jaguars and their run defense.
B-Mac, I just want to follow up with you here about this Cleveland situation. If Deshaun Watson does start, I mean, what's the point of starting Watson? He's going to be suspended. What kind of a message does that send to your team, to the fans, and Jacoby Brissett if he's going to be your QB1, but he's not the one who gets the start?
Well, my thing is this. If he is going to be suspended, let's get something out of him. Let's go ahead and get the blood circulating through his body, because it's been such a long time since he's played. So me personally, I'm okay with this. Let's see exactly what this thing gonna look like a little bit. That's why I said just air it out. First play from scrimmage. Take it deep. Mari Cooper, let's go. Somebody get open. Let's throw it. Let's see exactly what he has in store, because me personally, it's a meaningless game. But for Deshaun, it means a lot because he's been away for over a year. So me personally, we expect to see him suspended at some point in time. But this is the first preseason game. He's still a part of the team. Allow him to trot out with the starters and play a few series and then get out of town. And Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs, and Josh Rosen, y'all take over.
And Jaguars favored by 1 in that game. All right, let's talk about Arizona at Cincinnati facing the Bengals. Bengals sitting as 1.5-point favorites there with the total just over 30. The Bengals' quest to run it back begins here, but no Joe Burrow tonight, Emory.
Yeah, no Joe Burrow, and I don't expect that offense to look as smooth as it does with Joe Burrow under center. So I'm going with the Cardinals here. I'm excited to see Robbie Rivers, the outstanding running back, the undrafted rookie from Fresno State. And on defense, I think they do a really good job by bringing in their 5 technique, Cam Thomas, who I think was one of the best defensive linemen in the draft class. They got him later in the draft, and I expect him to have a big game tonight against a beat-up offensive line. And again, the Bengals try to piece together an offensive line from a starter perspective, but when you talk about second and third team offensive line from what people consider to be a bad unit, that's not a matchup that you want to see in this game, because I think the Cardinals have so much depth on the defensive line. I like the Cardinals to win this one easily, to be honest.
Well, for me, guys, when I look at the total, I see 31. Usually in preseason games, you see 35, you might see 36, you might see 34, you might see 33. But when I see 31, something is up. Vegas, they think they real slick. They're begging us to take the over. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under. You won't see a lot of household name players from either side playing this ball game. It's going to be a lot of guys like Emory mentioned that's trying to find their way in the National Football League and gain and earn some confidence. But it could be an ugly game offensively for both sides. And with this line being 31, you usually got to do the opposite from what they're telling you to do. When you gamble as much as I have, do what they don't want you to do. They want us to take the over. They not going to fool me. Not this time. I'm taking the under.
Well, another game that has a higher total for you. The Jets at Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. That total sitting at 35. It's gone up to 35.5, gone up to 36. This one is a pick-em here. Zach Wilson versus Jalen Hurts. I mean, are these teams that close, B-Mac?
Right now, today, yes. But I side with the Jets, and here's why. So far throughout camp, Zach Wilson has been the talk of the town. He's been balling. He's been letting it air out. He's looking real good. This guy has a lot of momentum following him going into this ball game. And I believe that Mr. Zach Wilson well, carry that said momentum into this ball game and do some nice things. He has no room for error when it comes to showing up and showing out. Granted, it's not a quarterback competition, but we know they expect a lot out of number 2 this year. And with him taking the baton first, right, in that first leg of that 4x1, I think he's going to get out to a good start. But Jalen Hurts, come on. You want to get out, get the sweat going, come out of the ball game healthy. That's it. And if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you're okay with that. You would be okay in not seeing Jalen Hurts attempt one pass because you understand he is your quarterback. But for the Jets, no, sir. This is a real 4x1 for the Jets. That first leg, and who is Mr. Zach Wilson, is going to take it, and he's going to go. He's going to eat up that curve. And then when he gets around and gets out, guess who's coming into the ball game? Joe Cool Flacco. I don't know if you can call him cool anymore because he's a little older, and you're not as cool when you become older, and not a cool guy is Joe Burrow. So let's just call Joe Flacco Joe. But then you got Joe, and then you got Mike White, right? Remember Mike White was the talk of the town for about 2 weeks a year ago. Granted, he didn't win no ball games, but he played pretty well. So I just like the quarterback room more so than the Eagles, even though I like the thick mustache coming from Gardner Minshew. Plays with a lot of energy. But give me the Jets.
You know, it's funny, B-Mac, I'm right there with you with the Jets in this game, too. I'm taking them because the Eagles going to come in and say, hey, man, we're playing at home. Jalen Hurts throw one deep ball to A.J. Brown, and both you guys get out. And then, on the other side, Robert Saleh will just be like, hey, we want to develop a winning culture. We want to go out there and set the tone. All right, coach, whatever, man, put the backups in. So you look at what they have depth-wise. This was probably the most improved roster, in my opinion, in the AFC East. I feel like they have a better pound-for-pound talent base than the New England Patriots. We saw that last night with how they looked against the Giants backup. So the Jets, to me, are going to come in trying to win this ball game, trying to set the tone, trying to develop that winning culture. And because B-Mac talked about Joe Flacco, I think that's the difference in this game. I could trust Joe Flacco over Gardner Minshew and whoever else is behind him at the depth chart for the Eagles. Reed Sennett, I believe, is a guy that you keep an eye on, also Carson Strong. But for the Jets, I feel like you're going to learn 2 names tonight. Offense, Irvin Charles, the outstanding wide receiver for Indiana University of Pennsylvania. B-Back know where that is. It's a little bit by Latrobe. And also DQ Thomas, the outside linebacker from Middle Tennessee State. This is a guy that can play safety or weak side backer. I expect both guys to make huge plays in this ball game. But I like the Jets here because they're going to try to win this one outright.
All right, the final game we want to look at, Green Bay at San Francisco. It is the Niners favored by 2.5, of the total sitting at 33. It has dropped from 33.5. Is the most interesting storyline in this game about the 49ers offense with Trey Lance at the helm here, Emory?
I believe so, and it makes you wonder because he is so inexperienced in time on task type reps. How long will we see him in this game? Do you want to put him in there for a longer period of time because you want to see him get those reps down pat, or you don't want to risk him getting injured, knock on wood, because you're trying to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo? So that's the more intriguing thing. But depth-wise, I like their quarterback room. I know Jordan Love may even get the start. So after him is Daddy Etling. So you're going to see Etling versus Brock Purdy. I can trust Purdy a little bit more so than Etling. And I think the 49ers have much better depth defensively, and they'll still run the football, which we know they have. So I like San Francisco to win this one, taking them in this ball game as opposed to Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers. I think this will be a close ball game. And anytime you look or you anticipate seeing a close ball game, I always side with the team that's getting points. If you're not quite comfortable with this 2.5, why don't you buy it up a point and a half, and maybe get this line to 3.5? So now, even if they lose by a field goal, you still come out on top and you cashing in. So I think that would be the most. That would be the smartest advice for me if you're not comfortable with that too. Buy some points, because I do it all the time. But then also too, Jordan Love, we've been hearing some pretty good things coming from Green Bay and offensively with the quarterback in Jordan Love. He has a lot of positive momentum. We know he's going to play. I think he will play a lot. I think that would do wonders for him because the lack of experience, and we don't expect to see him play at all during the regular season. So for Jordan Love, this is an opportunity to continue to show and progress and show this organization, man, listen, I can ball. If you need me, I'm there. And also, too, you never know. He might potentially try to, showcase what he can do to other organizations throughout the National Football League because he wants to play, but clearly he won't be the starting quarterback as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy. So give me the quarterback that has really been balling. Give me the quarterback that's probably going to play more than one series, and I take the Green Bay Packers.
All right, yes, Jordan Love will be the one to start tonight. Head coach Matt LaFleur announcing that. They are Mr. Football Game Plan. Sports Line's Emory Hunt, our two-time Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden winning plays for tonight's 5 preseason games. As you take a look at the picks here, both men taking the Falcons to defeat the Lions. 2.5-point spread there. In terms of the Browns and Jaguars, both teams like the Browns. Deshaun Watson potentially set to start in that game. Cardinals is who Emory likes versus the Bengals, but BMAC doesn't like the total. He's going with the under. They both like the Jets to beat the Eagles in a pick'em, and they're going opposite ways. Packers at the 49ers. Emory likes the home team. BMAC going with Jordan Love and the Packers. And of course, you can check out BMAC along with Pat P on the All Things Covered podcast. Latest episode, Pat P giving us an update on how things are going over at Vikings camp, week 2 of training camp. There, you can download and follow wherever you get your podcast audio. You can also watch the fellas and the show on YouTube.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.